Hello there. In today's video we are going to be inspecting the lore of the Masters in Hollow Knight, answering questions such as who they are, why they are important to the whole plot, and some speculation about them. Warning: major spoilers for both Hollow Knight and Silksong. If you are some random casual, you will likely have absolutely no idea of who the Masters even are. Actually, Mossbag did mention them in that one video I am showing on screen, but the chances of you remembering about them is actually pretty slim. So let's go over what we know about the Masters that doesn't contain any speculation. To begin with, we know that the Masters almost certainly live in an area called the City of Steel. This area's existence was only mentioned once in a Cradle lore tablet. While technically the game hasn't confirmed this, it is easy to assume since the Masters are very closely tied to Steel. It would be very cheeky of Team Cherry to have the City of Steel be a completely unrelated place. I just realized we can see the City of Steel in the 100% totally real and reliable leaked Skong DLC map. Okay. Another thing we know about the Masters is that they are very powerful and they use their power to gain authority over many bugs, as evidenced by this dialogue. I actually am not good enough at the game to do a Steel Soul run and record footage, but you can see the dialogue from the wiki page. Anyway, she mentions many times that her master's wrath is harsh. Next, we know that the Masters bind bugs in steel in order to make them serve them. This could be possibly the punishment for disobedience to them. The steel-binded bugs are called the Steel Hearts, and they seem to not have a sense of self similar to the mask makers while masked. This helps the Master have them at their service no matter the cost. However, the Steel Hearts vassals are fully aware of what's happening around them. And according to Sula, it is very painful. That was so much information, right? Not at all. We are now done with what we know about the Masters. Now, we can finally move on to the fun part: speculation. Throughout this video, you may have noticed me making an analogy of Sula to Gigi. And that is for a good reason. I firmly believe that Gigi is Jin's vassal. And I'm going to tell you why. First, if you take a look at both Sula's and Gigi's costumes and appearances in general, they both have this cool mantle, the same kinds of antennas, similar feet and eyes. Most importantly though, they both can summon the void. Sula summons the summoned savior boss and Gigi summons the shade. I do not think this is a coincidence at all. Side note: something I find very interesting is how a vassal's relationship with a Steel Heart could be not one of hate, but of friendship. Jin on multiple occasions calls Gigi her friend despite her being her vassal. Time to speculate about the elephant in the room. What do the Masters want? And how are they going to connect to the actual Hollow Knight games? Let's start by answering the first question. What exactly do they want? Jin mentions that they do not seek order. But what exactly they want is never clearly stated. Not even obscurely, but we can absolutely work with that. We also know that they are observing, which may help us figure out their motives. So, what the Masters are doing is disorderous, requires observation, and is maybe related to the void, since both Gigi and Sula know how to summon it. With that info, I have come to the conclusion that the Masters may want to go on a war against the whole Hollow Knight world, taking over anything that gets in their way, possibly using void constructs similar to the King's molds as soldiers. The specific idea of void constructs being used as war machines could be further based upon the fact that a weaver was found in the City of Steel. And we know that the weavers were involved in the creation of void constructs. This also matches with the motives of the weavers, or rather that specific one, since a Farloom takeover could be a way to dethrone Grandmother Silk. Now that we have explored the in-lore direction I think the Masters' Steel Hearts and vassals will take. Will this be a new game? Who will we play as? Is Hornet void? If this ends up being a game, how will it play out? How will it be called and when will it release? First of all, since the Masters seem to play the role of the quote-unquote bad guy in the generic Hollow Knight canon, They will, in my opinion, definitely be part of a new Hollow Knight game that will be played in the place where the City of Steel is located. In that game we will try to confront the Masters and try to prevent the war from happening. That game will likely have a good end to the Hollow Knight trilogy. I think that in that game you will either play as Hornet or a completely new character. After all, those are the only bugs I think would be applicable for a new Hollow Knight game protagonist. My prediction for the title of this new game is Hollow Knight Steelheart. I have a gut feeling that this game will release in about 10 billion years. However, I will personally find a way to defy death just to get my hands on that game. You heard me right, Team Cherry. Anyway, that's about it for today. Let me know what you think about this video in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts. If you wanted a quick update about the Deltarune ARG, I haven't made much progress yet. But next video will likely be about it. Paxomad signing out. Have a good one.